Hello, and welcome in these politically worrying times to the second SASI lunch break this year. It is a great pleasure to see so many faces and names again here in our lunch break. Faces and names of people that are very much committed to promoting sustainability in agricultural supply chains, despite the fierce headwind that we are seeing today. Today, we want to talk about gender equality. Equal access to resources, education, and decision-making processes should be a self-evident reality. But these rights, in reality, are much too often withheld to women, not only, but also and particularly in agricultural supply chains. Here, women are involved in hard, labor-intensive production processes with long working hours, with lower payment than their men's colleagues, and with limited representation. Hence, one day before International Women's Day, we want to learn more about gender responsive approaches in agricultural supply chains and discuss how they could and should be implemented and fostered for success. My name is Christian Thorn. I'm the director of the Institute for Consumer Policy here in Berlin, and I'm very pleased to be your host today. So, what's on the agenda for today's meeting? First of all, Charlotte Häusler-Vargas, team lead at DASI, is spontaneously stepping in for Jens Busma, head of the Division 12020 at the German Federal Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development, who is unfortunately ill. So thank you very much to Charlotte already for stepping in. Then we will have two very insightful presentations from the Ethical Tea Partnership and from the company McLeod Russell, that will share their insights of how they implement gender responsive approaches in their tea agricultural supply chains and what this all has to do with the plantation community empowerment program that is led by GIZ in India. In between these two presentations, you will, as always, have time for your questions, and there will be hopefully very good answers to these questions. And this session will, as always, be until 1 o'clock. So I wish us all a very insightful lunch break today. And now I would like to hand over the word to Charlotte for the official greeting.
Yeah, thank you very much, Christian. So I have the honor today of welcoming you from GIZ side to this fourth SASI lunch break. In this well-established and trusted format on the first Friday of every month, we present various practice-oriented tools and guidelines demonstrating that the implementation of corporate due diligence is feasible for everyone. This is why in today's lunch break, we will discuss how to strengthen gender-responsive approaches along agricultural supply chains by working with the private sector. This topic is particularly important today, the day before International Women's Day, as these essential objectives are increasingly being challenged in global debates. Gender equality, recognized as SDG 5, is not just an individual goal. It is a crucial foundation for sustainable development, especially in the agricultural sector. Please allow me to illustrate this with some concrete numbers. In sub-Saharan Africa and South and Southeast Asia, women produce approximately 60 to 70% of the food and represent over 50% of the agricultural workforce. Although women are often referred to as the backbone of agriculture and make a key contribution to global food production, they only hold 13.8% of land rights worldwide. It has been proven that better access to resources such as land, education, and digital tools can strengthen the autonomy and status of women in their households and communities and promote their participation in more profitable activities along the supply chain. The BMZ places great importance on strengthening gender-responsive and transformative approaches, among others through the strategy of feminist development policy and a concrete gender action plan. BMZ and GIZ firmly believe that gender equality is key to achieving the goals of the 2030 agenda. The feminist development policy aims to reduce gender-based injustices and discrimination by focusing on the 3 Rs: rights, resources, and representation. Today, we will be having a look at how gender-responsive approaches are implemented through collaboration with partner organizations and companies in the tea sector in India. I'm pleased that in this session, the global membership organization Ethical Tea Partnerships and the tea producing company McLeod Russell will be sharing good practices on strengthening women and youth in the tea supply chain through the Plantation Community Empowerment Program. I'm looking forward to today's inputs and engaging discussions. Thank you for joining this event and contributing to more sustainable agricultural supply chains.
Thank you very much, Charlotte, for this kind of introduction to the whole event and the background to this event. So before we will come to our 2 distinguished speakers, I have a question to you as the audience. So could you please fill out in this word cloud the question, what are, from your view, the key challenges in the implementation of gender-responsive approaches? And as you know, in word clouds, please use only one word because a sentence cannot really be processed. So in your view, what are the key challenges in the implementation of gender-responsive approaches? And your input would then also be good input for me in my moderation. So if you could submit what you think. So what are the key challenges? It's patriarchy, salary, task-based payments, so a lot about compensation, sexism, awareness, land ownership, abuse of power, participation in decision-making processes, capacity building, culture. So I think what I take from this for the following 15 minutes, that we should talk about the relationships, that we should talk about power, that we need to talk about compensation, that we need to talk about social norms, that we need to talk about decision-making processes and rights. Okay, thank you very much for this input. And now let me introduce our first speaker. I would like to introduce you to Ranjana Das. She is a nationally and internationally recognized expert in program development, capacity building, and campaign design. She has been working for Oxfam India for many years and is now the country manager for India at the Ethical Tea Partnership. We are now looking forward to learn more about the Ethical Tea Partnership's approach to gender-responsive approaches and their learnings within the GIZ-supported Plantation Community Empowerment Program. Ranjana, great that you are here with us today.
Thank you so much, Christian. I will like to start with a little apology that I'm in a public place and there might be a little bit of a background noise, but I'll try to be loud and clear. Hope I should be able to manage the presentation in 10 to 15 minutes. First of all, I start with wishing all of you a very happy International Women's Day and congratulating the Sustainable Agriculture Platform to have this conversation on the eve of the Women's Day. I'll take you all very quickly about Ethical Tea Partnership. Ethical Tea Partnership is a buyers membership organization. The buyers who buy tea from the countries like India, Sri Lanka, Indonesia in Asia, and Africa, Malawi, Kenya, and in Africa from Kenya, Malawi, and Rwanda. Basically, what our vision is to see a thriving and a socially just tea industry, which benefits everybody associated with the industry, whether it is workers, smallholder farmers, women, industry itself, so on and so forth. This is about where we work. Our work is centric around ensuring living wages and living income for the workers and the farmers, ensuring low carbon tea, climate resilient practices, zero deforestation, and in the equality, we are trying as best to create safe spaces for women so that nobody in the tea industry faces violence against women. We organize our work into what we popularly call as 3Ps, which is we do programs in the supply chain zones. And in India, in Assam, I will be today giving you an overview of a program, which is also looking into the women empowerment component, pretty much trying to address some of the issues that I'll be also talking about. We also undertake business pilots wherein we try to bring in the industry, the workers, the producer company together to see that we can find a common solution to any particular problem that is impacting the industry and thereby impacting the workers and the farmers. And in few countries, we also take policy initiative to have a conversation with the government and the industry. And one of the role that ethical tea partnership plays, convening the industry and the government together. Having said a little bit about what ethical tea partnership does, just to give you a little bit brief about tea in India. Tea in India, and especially from the northeast part of India, the state of Assam is very, very significant. It is one of the leading export commodity. And as you can see, that 12% of the global tea exports are from India, and more than 50% of that goes from Assam alone. We are right now producing almost about 13.74 million kilograms. The production is organized twofold. One is a plantation-based production, and one is a small tea growers-based production, which is almost sharing 50% each. And in India, right now, Government of India are undertaking various responsible government business initiative, pretty much in Germany, like the way you have the German Suppliers Act. This is a little bit background of the tea in India. I will quickly delve into the situation of women of tea in India specific to the Assam state. Now, on a particular day, on a full harvest season, a women tea worker, the women tea workers comprise almost 50 to 60% of the tea working population, and they do the hard job of plucking tea. So they get up around 5:30 in the morning, do their household chores, come to the tea field, do the plucking for 7 to 8 hours, get their tea weighed, go back home, do again the household chores, take care of their children, take care of the elderly. The next day, the same workload repeats. Now, along with this, there are certain persistent issues, which is not only with women tea workers, but also Assam as a whole on their health issues. There's a wage gap, I would say, between what the women workers are paid and what the male workers are paid, which is also related to the kind of jobs that the women workers do and the male workers do. Women are mostly, as I said, 80% of the plucking job is done by women. There are two types of workers who are prevalent in Assam. One is a permanent worker who are staying within the plantation. The plantations operate within the Plantation Labor Act. So each of the producer company who have their own plantation operates under the Plantation Labor Act, and they're mandated to provide housing, health benefits, education, fuel, and ration. So the permanent workers stay within the plantation, and almost 50 to 60% are the permanent workers. And during high plucking season, they have seasonal workers also. There are health risks associated with the pluckers. There are multiple efforts that are taken by the companies also to address this. However, there is a long way to go. Representation of women in various leadership forums is right now lacking. One of the reasons is with the heavy lifting job that they do, there is little time that we can train them also. And I'll come in a while where are the challenges. There are various social protection programs, but women hardly can access them because of lack of information and access to knowledge around those. So for ethical tea partnership, we have signed up for transformative women leadership. So what we do is we do not directly get into addressing health issues or education issues pertaining to gender, but we actually invest on developing leadership of women. So train them on their confidence level, train them on communication skill, on their negotiation skill, both at the household sector and at the community level. That is our theory of change within the ethical tea partnership. I will now come into the program, and before I discuss the program, I want to tell a couple of things about this program. This program actually demonstrates a great partnership between Ethical Tea Partnership, our buyers. 4 of our buyers have signed in for this program. Tailors of Harrogate, Jing Tea, OTG from Germany, and Lavazza. And we have got and 5 of the producer companies in India, McLeod Russell being one of the significant producer partner. These 3 entities have come together to design and shape the program with a grand partnership and support from GIZ. And that's how it is so important to talk about this program, which demonstrates a multi-stakeholder partnership where buyers, producer company, donors like GIZ, and membership platforms like Ethical Tea Partnership have come together to design and implement this program in Assam. This program is primarily known as Plantation Community Empowerment Program, in short PCEP. The crux of this program is to develop a community development forum. Now, what is a community development forum? It is a forum which is comprised of the representative of management, workers, members of the community, youth. They come together. Ethical Tea Partnership have trained them over the last 3 years on various leadership aspects, on participatory methods. This picture is also demonstrating a little bit that they know what are the resources available in the tea garden, what are the challenges that the garden is facing related to health, education, mainstreaming social protection, seasonality, absenteeism, substance abuse, so on and so forth. But it is a little bit different from the traditional trade union model, because here the workers and the management come together to identify the issues and find a collective solution to address them. That is the centrality of this model. We have piloted this model in 3 tea gardens from 2017 to 22. We have seen great results, and therefore right now we are scaling it up in 20 tea gardens. One of our partner being McLeod Russell. With them, we are doing it in 70 gardens. It is from 2022, and this year it's coming to an end, and we are planning to scale it up further. The whole idea is to cover 20 plus 3, 23 gardens. We are reaching out to 1,500 CDF, Community Development Forum members, and almost indirect reach 150,000. One of the significant way we have tried to promote women leadership within the Community Development Forum is to catalyze a women empowerment committee within that forum. Now, women empowerment committee right now, within the Community Development Forum, we have almost 50% women as leaders there. We have trained them on various gender issues, women and issues related to women's health, education, child marriage, child labor, so on and so forth. And within the Community Development Forum, there are right now 20 women empowerment committees who are specifically looking into the women's issues. Now, under their leadership, this is just a 3-year program right now. They have started now mainstreaming social protection program, which is pertaining to women within the tea garden. Women alone cannot access them. These leaders are right now trying to collaborate with the government and get these programs in the garden for the women. They're celebrating, like tomorrow in few of the garden, these women empowerment committee members are actually undertaking a lot of programs on generating awareness on issues like child marriage, women's health, nutrition issues, so on and so forth. And in few of the garden, these women empowerment committees are also undertaking certain income generating activities as well. So we have, what ETP has done is, in collaboration with the producer company partners, have tried to develop their leadership, built in their communication skill, build their linkages with various government departments, given them platforms so that they are able to negotiate with the management and various other stakeholders within the tea community. In last year, we have been able to also leverage some more resources from another buyer, the Republic of Tea. And with that resources, we are now focusedly undertaking a women and leadership program in 2 gardens in partnership with McLeod Russell. And this is a little focused on leadership development. Here from 2 gardens, we are focusing on 50 women leaders to implement a comprehensive gender and leadership training, to build their leadership networks, to develop their financial literacy and management skills. And I'm right now actually talking, we just finished a scoping of women's understanding on digital medium, like to what extent they use mobile phones, for what purpose and all. And we are actually developing an application through which women can actually access all the social protection schemes. And these women leaders will then act as gender resources within the community development forum. We are trying this model within 2 gardens in partnership with McLeod Russell. It is following a cascading training model, which is like first 50 women, ETP will be directly training them on gender, leadership, financial inclusion, social protection, and digital training. This 50 primary cohort will then train 20 more women each, and thereby reaching out to 1,000 secondary cohort. And the secondary 1,000 cohort will reach out to 20,000 community women through awareness program. This is a 2-year model. This is the first year, and we are hoping that at the end of the 2 year, at least the 50 primary cohort women will be identified leaders from the tea working community who are able to take certain leadership, and also along with them taking another 1,000 women. So this is another model of women empowerment that we are undertaking. A couple of challenges, and I'm sure Mr. Bothra will be talking a bit on them, that this is a seasonal industry. So the whole year we do not get to do the trainings. We only get a window of November to March, which is the post-harvest period, to do intensive trainings. And therefore, all our intensive efforts have to be geared during this period. The rest of the year, we only can do awareness generation and preparation of the trainings. So I'll stop my presentation here, and I'll be very happy to respond to any questions, queries, or clarification that you have. I hope I was audible. Once again, apologies that I am sitting in a zone. I have a little situation at home. Therefore, I had to do it from a public space. Thank you so much.
Ranjana, thank you so much for your presentation, for summarizing the key challenges that women in the tea supply chain are facing, and for your approach to counter this. And there's already the first question, and now we have 5 minutes for Q&A with Ranjana. So if you have any questions, please ask your question. And the first question is, has there been any data collected on the impact and changes made based on these programs?
Yes. For the pilot phase, we have the endline evaluation wherein we have collected data to show the impact of the program. I can share the report with you. Right now, for the 3-year scale-up phase, we have started the endline evaluation, which will be done by June, which also we can share the findings with you all.
But if you could give us, I don't know, an indication, because you named so many challenges: lack of representation, hard working condition, non-unfair wages, and so on and so forth. So what do you think? Where are the greatest achievements that are measurable?
So one of the achievements that we are right now measuring is to what extent women are able to raise some of the issues by themselves. I mean, within the industry, the practice has been external NGOs have always come and done programs with the women. The NGOs have given a lot of inputs and therefore training the women and issues and all. What we are trying is to empower the women so that they themselves are able to raise the issues. And Mr. Bothra in his presentation will also share that how women are now have started, organizing program. Like in 2 of the gardens last month, the women themselves have organized, mobilized people to talk about child marriage, which is a pressing need in the tea gardens at the moment. So that is where we are trying to bring a change rather than an external organization coming in, doing and moving away, which was our learning has been as ETP, that not a sustainable practice. It is important that within the garden we create women leaders.
And a second question that I would have is, you mentioned all the challenges that you're facing, and then you said, okay, in our theory of change, the biggest change could be done by developing leadership qualities. So that's kind of what your objectives are. So why this focus on leadership qualities of women? Why do you think that this is key to everything?
So as I said, that externally anybody is coming and can do programs and all. But important is that women themselves are able to understand and communicate about their own problems and negotiate with system to bring in change. And therefore, we are investing on developing their communication, developing their confidence level, their negotiation skills, so on and so forth, so that they are capable enough to raise their own issues and take it forward.
Thank you very much, Ranjana, for the time being. And now we're switching to the second presentation and the Q&A, and maybe at the end of this session, you will come back in. So we already heard about McLeod Russells, India. McLeod Russells has been starting to plant tea in India in 1869 and is today among the largest tea producing companies in the world. And as we've just learned, is a partner of this whole program and is also implementing activities to strengthen women in the tea production processes. To learn more about what this company is doing and what experience they have been making, I would like to welcome Bhargav Botra. Bhargav has been working for McLeod Russells for more than 20 years in various roles. Since 2015, he has been leading the certification and sustainability initiatives as manager certification. So also great that you are here with us today.
Thank you, Christopher, and thank you, SASI, for organizing this platform so that we can showcase to the world and to your country what we've been doing while making that cup of tea for you. As Christian had already mentioned, that we've been in this business since 1869. And we've got about 31 tea estates spread across Assam and 2 in our neighboring state in West Bengal. And we've got about 6 in Africa, in Uganda. And yes, we are the largest producer of tea, and we produce about 64 million kgs of tea annually. Christian, if I may ask you to, because
Yes,
can't
please.
see the slides.
Just say next slide and we will click next slide.
Yeah. So I'll just mention next and you can slide into that. So yeah. So we are next, Christian. So we are we are mostly concentrated in Assam. We can see the map of Assam here, and we are spread across the state of Assam. These 31 estates are there across the state of Assam. Yeah, next. So here in this, what we wanted to showcase is that this is a woman-driven industry. 59% of the workers here are women, and this has been the structure of this company historically since the 1800s, and we've been performing with this workforce, and we are very proud of our workforce, and we are steeped very deeply in traditions. At the same time, we do take in new technologies, but as you know, tea is a hand harvested product, and the manufacturing of tea is very much steeped in tradition. So we don't, and we are very proud of that. So as we next, as we go, and as I mentioned that women form the backbone of Assam tea industries, consisting nearly 50% of the workforce, and they play a crucial role. They are employed mainly in the plucking, where about 70% of the workers employed in plucking is women. They take part in processing also, and yes, they are one of the most essential pillars for the tea industry for improving their women empowerment. We We believe it is very essential for improving their livelihood and ensuring gender equality and enhancing the overall productivity of the industry. So, next. Here, since this is something which I was very taken aback when during the introduction of the program, when Christian asked for the key words or the key challenges of women empowerment, I could see that some of my points mentioned here as the 5 pillars of empowerment, which we believe at McLeod Russell, were pointed out by our audience. The first one being the self-worth, determined choice. The lady is able to determine her choice, access to opportunities, control their own life, and influence social change. These we consider as one of the most important aspects of women empowerment. So as we go on in this presentation, and this is what we do and how we do things at McLeod Russell. And yes, we do partner with CDF, and we are very proud of ETP, how they have taken forward the CDF and the PSAP program, and they have helped us in achieving or in strengthening these 5 pillars of women empowerment. Next. So self-worth, the most important thing is the woman is able to have her own dignity, self-respect, confidence, and believe in herself. The most important thing, believe in herself, what she can achieve. And this is done mainly through education. Education, we've been very concerned about the children attending school, mainly the girl child, and then once they have attended the school, later on when they grow up in age, then the financial literacy is very important for the woman, because once they are earning, they need to know the financial literacy aspect also. They need to know about the savings, how they can invest their money, how they can save money. And for this, we've been encouraging our women to open bank accounts in the local banks, and where they have been able to deposit some of their savings and keep them for posterity. Then the most important aspect which we do as a company towards women is that there is no distinction of payment. There is no distinction of wages between men and women. Men and women, historically in McLeod Russell or in tea industry, I would say, receives the same amount of pay for the same work. There is there is only one wage rate which is prevalent around the entire industry. Both men and women, they earn the same wage. Hence, the thing about fair treatment is steeped in our culture and tradition. And the second thing is about the gender-based violence. They This is an issue which has been of great importance for us, because it was we needed the help of a third party coming in, which we've got in the form of different programs like a Women's Safety Accelerator Fund, and the ETP-led programs like the CDF, the PSEP. So we've been working a lot on that. Next, then we come to determine the choice. Now, determine the choice of both personal and professional matters. Now, here it is about the young girls, about the young daughters, young sisters who are back there at the home while the lady worker is working in the fields. We have these young girls. So we have been making these outreach programs for them to choose their own work roles. Now, these career oriented programs that we've been doing with them. Then now there is a stipulated rule by the government, by the union, that at least 50% of the garden union has to be women membership. Women has to be there in the 50% of the thing, and the 50% of the office bearers of the local union has to be women. Then about the family planning, which the government of India, the state government, they are actively participating in the family planning. So family planning now, the menstrual hygiene and everything has been taken care of by the company and as well as the state. And we are offering these skill development programs through our 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 our, our partners, our implementing partners like ETP, like WSF, like we've got another program led by one of our buyers. So all these programs, we organize this skill development program for women, like say a hairdresser program or an electrician or a plumber. All these small small work programs where a lady or a girl could go out of the estate and earn her own living in a nearby town. So yeah, next, access to opportunities. Yes, this is one of the most important thing because availability of yes education, employment, and this improves their life, as I've already mentioned in my earlier slides. We are ensuring these training programs in leadership and finance and equal access. That's another equal access to wages. That was another thing. And obviously, our partnership with CDF and other programs. Next, controlling their own life. Now, this is one factor which I would like to discuss here. This is something is very close to us, and we work very deeply on this. Is controlling their own life. Now, as you must have people you know that our wage is stipulated by the government. We do have these wage notifications every year, whereby the wage is increased by a notification from the government. But we want our women to make their own choices and they control their own life by having an alternate income. This is the most important thing that we address nowadays is the alternate source of income. They do not have to keep on looking at the company or the government for a better life. They can take things in their own hands, and then they can earn a better wage other than their normal wage which they earn in the state. Now, each house which is being provided by the company is also, it has a plot of land where these workers are encouraged to grow their own vegetables, rear their own poultry. And in one of our incidents recently, we saw that ETP had partnered with our women, our dependent women, which are, say, a worker's daughter or a sister. They have started these local handloom projects. And we already have our own handloom project is one of our districts where we do have a handloom project. But it was so nice to see that the ETP has started this handloom projects and they have started marketing these products in the local nearby markets or nearby these commercial centers. So this is a very encouraging thing which has started, and we had initiated it during in one of our districts, but we've seen that it's been duplicated in many other estates by ETP and other programs. So this is very encouraging to have a alternate income source. Next, yes, influence social change, because this is something which we encourage our workers so that, like Ranjana was mentioning, that first she has a group of 50 ladies, then the 50 ladies each train 20 ladies, and then the entire branching out of these awareness program happens. And that is the same thing what we want to do with our awareness programs in be it gender equality, be it leadership, all these things. Our women workers have started coming out, and we've seen they themselves have, they call it something, they call it a mothers club, and these mothers club have their own agendas. Yes, gender equality is one of them. They have alcohol abuse, then your awareness campaigns on domestic violence, legal rights. Then Another thing, most important thing, which CDF and ETP was, they played a very crucial role, was that introducing these women to the government schemes that was available here. These women, they've a lot of these government schemes are there, so these women are going ahead and they are utilizing these government schemes. So yes, now next. So at the end of today's discussion and another thing, I'm very positive that empowerment in Assam's tea estate is not just a social necessity, but it is an economic opportunity. By addressing gender inequality and providing better facilities and education leadership opportunities, the tea industry can ensure a sustainable and progressive future for its women worker. Government policies, estate management, and community participation must work together to make an empowerment reality. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for this great presentation, Bhargav. And let me start with a question that directly relates to your last slide when you say it's not about not only a social necessity, but an economic opportunity. So how difficult is it to convince your management to invest in all these activities? Or in other words, what would you say is the business case also behind women empowerment for a company? Why should companies invest in this and should have an even financial interest in this?
There's a very simple line which our managing director at once said, a happy worker leads to a better productivity. So just the word happy now has become a huge meaning for us. Empowerment, be it women empowerment, be it gender equality, be it everything, it all leads to one word, that is happy. A happy worker leads to a better productivity, and a better productivity will always definitely improve the profitability of the company.
Perfect. Then there have been a number of questions. So you mentioned, for example, that it's important to protect women, obviously, against pesticides and so on and so forth. So the question is the tea in your company grown organically? And what share is it and what trends are there with regard to organically grown tea? Because if it was organically grown, then it would eliminate the pesticide health risk.
Okay. First of all, woman is never employed directly in pesticide application. This is legally, it is enforced in India that women will not take part in any pesticide application. Then second, we have an approved list of chemical as per the Government of India, as per the Tea Board of India, which is with the MRL levels are kept at the minimum. And we only follow those chemicals. So we are technically, we are not organic. We do spray pesticides, but these are in accordance to the EU norms, the GB norms, and plus most importantly the FSSI, the Food Safety Regulation of India, has stipulated a list of chemicals with their MRLs, and that is followed. And most importantly, Christian, what we follow is a pre-harvest interval. So there is a gap of 7 days. So technically, these molecules have a half-life period after which the chemical decomposes into different particles or different elements. So we have to maintain this pre-harvest interval of 7 days, which makes sure the tea has the lowest MRL possible.
Perfect. Then there was another question about the level of education among women in the tea gardens and what educational academic milestones can they realistically achieve. So with your support and with the education and empowerment, what are the current levels and what is realistic for them to achieve?
Yeah. So in each estate of MacLeod Russell, we have a primary school which is up to class 5. So after that, the government of Assam has opened a higher secondary school which takes care of children up to class 12. That is till 16 years of age. So this at 16 years of age, this education is provided in the estate itself. And now earlier, till about 5-6 years, it was only the primary level education. But now we have up to higher secondary level. And what we have seen that there is a trend of these girls going out. Out means out of the estate to the nearby towns where these colleges are there. So they are, we can see there is a percentage of girls who are graduating with be it life science, be it commerce, or be it humanities.
That leads me to another point. In our word cloud, one of the key issues or challenges that was identified was representation, participation in decision, equal representation, and so on and so forth. So, and you mentioned in the dimension to determine choice that, of course, take leadership positions is a key objective. So in your company, what would you actually say? What is the relationship between men and women when it comes to managing leadership positions? And what
See,
could
in
be
the
done there?
local union, the workers' union, there is an equal participation of about 50%. That is mandatory. So when be it the office bearers or be it members, there are equal representation of men and women. But if you come to the management level, unfortunately the representation is not equal. Historically, we have seen and that the participation of women in managerial roles is very less. We did have, it is not that we never had, we did have lady executives in the company, but for reasons best known to them, they didn't pursue their career with us. They left on and they pursued a different career. But we are open to hiring lady executives in the company.
Okay, great. Since we are now talking about what we can all learn from what you have just described, I would also like to ask Ranjana to come back to the stage and let us now reflect a little bit what we can actually learn also for other commodities or for other countries. So the one question that I was asked or that was given here was, to what extent can we transfer what you have said to other commodities or to other world regions? So what would you say is kind of this kind of approach that you're taking only specific for the tea sector in India? Or would you say, no, it can also be transferred to other agricultural commodities in India or even beyond India and elsewhere in the world? Ranjana, would you like to start? You can switch on your video. We cannot hear you at the moment.
Hear me?
Yes, now. But we don't see you.
You hear me?
Yes, we can hear
Christian?
you. Yes, we can hear you.
Yes. And I'm trying to switch on my video. But meanwhile, see, my response to this would be each of the commodity supply chain are very unique in their production pattern. We could do this community development forum model at the plantation setup, which is more organized, where you have the management, you have the workers together, and our job was to bring them together for facilitate the leadership development. Now, we are not very sure whether the similar model will work with the small tea growers sector, which is more independent, not so much regulated and not so much organized. So my response will be to have a contextual analysis of how a particular commodity production supply chain is organized and then uptake a model. But the second response will be investing on developing leadership, whether it is farmers or workers, is what the trial.
So a twofold answer, Bhagav, would you agree, disagree, add to this?
Yeah, I totally agree with Ranjana because the playing field will be different in different agricultural sectors. Like for example, this hierarchy structure that we have in tea is very similar to what we have in the army. Starting with the general, going down to the brigadier and the colonel and left. So our hierarchy and is very similar to the army hierarchy. And what Ranjana mentioned, this structure, this hierarchy structure, helps a lot to implement these social welfare programs, which is functioned by the ETP.
Okay, and then there was a question.
In absence of a structure like this, it will be very difficult.
Okay. And then there was a question, do you have recommendations on how to implement some ideas for other companies without having another multi-stakeholder project? Raghav, so if I said, okay, I'm also working in the tea sector and I also want to get, or I'm inspired what you're doing, but it can be such a big, huge project. So where can I start? What can I do without engaging in a big multi-stakeholder project? What can I do? What would you suggest and recommend?
The most important thing is education. We'll have to make sure that there is no dropouts in the school, and only doing that measure itself will you will win half of the battle. The most important thing is education. That girls BN plus now whosoever has missed the bus, we like Ranjana has done it in one of our programs in one of our estates, for which we even got an award from a North American Tea Association. Is a estate called Decorai, where along with the Joyful Learning Center, they had started adult literacy. So for what I'm saying, that education is good, important, but we make sure all our girls go. But for those women who had missed the bus, we start adult literacy and make them more, the empowerment will be much more strengthened by that. So what you asked is education, just simple education, and make sure that there is no dropouts, and 100% of your women workers or your girls and daughters, they all go to school.
Another question was, do your programs only target women or also men? Because men should also be aware of women's right. So do these programs only address women or also their counterparts?
No, it's a two parallel sides going on together, because I may be very blunt at saying that, but if I say just for example, gender equality, domestic violence, sexual harassment, we make sure that the men folk know about this, and they know about the legal consequence of these domestic violence or gender violence or sexual harassment. So a man also has to understand, and then we'll have to take out of that old shell which they have, with that, no, we'll not discuss this is a taboo, we'll not understand. So we have to take him out of that shell and show him the new world. Otherwise, nothing is possible here. Nothing is possible, because the both side has to come together.
Great. Unfortunately, we seem to have lost Ranjana, which is really a pity. But I have the last question.
I am
you're
there.
still there.
I am there, Kristen.
Great.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Excellent. Okay. And I don't know if you want to add also to the question of how do we engage men in this? And then the final question also would need to be answered. So what was the reaction of the general public to your projects? It is also enshrined in the cultural context. And yeah, you're doing something kind of newish. So what was the response of the general public, and were there pushbacks, and how did you deal with it? Ranjana.
Yes, and before I probably will give three responses. First, just on the multi-stakeholder question as well, my take would be, of course, we had a great partnership with McLeod Russell doing in their 7 estates, and they actually are demonstrating a leadership in the tea producer company. So we certainly would want more and more producer company come forward, uptake the program, foster a leadership development, and settle a management versus worker model to salvage the development issues. We certainly would need more and more technical partners here. So therefore, only for a producer company to do this probably is not a very great way forward. forward, because they would also need technical support to do trainings on gender, leadership, so on and so forth. And of course, buyers are the greatest supporters over here. So therefore, a multi-stakeholder commitment is always looking forward over here. That's one response from my side on the multi-stakeholder question. On the men question, yes, of course, the program that I shared on women in leadership, which has a cascading training model, like we first developed 50 women cohort, the 50 women cohort reaching out to 20 another cohort, each of them actually is divided 50-50. Like they will reach out to 10 men and 10 women, primarily because we need to take men on board. And I completely agree the way Bhargav has explained that men also need to understand gender. There are a lot of gender-based biases wherein they need to work on, and together they can work towards equality. And on the third question of what has been our response so far, I will certainly want to give a biased response because we have been doing this program in great collaboration from buyers and producer company. So far, it has been quite positive. I wouldn't say there have been backlashes, but we probably need to together work a bit on engaging more government side over here. Although so far we have gotten in good response as far as mainstreaming social protection programs have come, but I think we need to do a bit more on that. So Christian, my 3 responses here.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being so concise also in answering all my questions. And I don't know how it feels for you, but for me, this 1 hour felt like the shortest 1 hour that I ever had because it was so full of great insights. So a big applause, virtual applause to the 2 of you for your great input presentations. And it was great that you were here with us today and shared your experiences and learnings. And now, for those of you that would like to learn more about strengthening gender responsive approaches, there is a new publication that has just been brought out by the GIZ implemented program Sustainability and Value Added in Agricultural Supply Chains. It reads Collaborative Insights to Strengthening Gender Responsive Approaches in Developmental Work in India and Beyond. A link will now show. So if you want to download this brochure, then do it, please. And now we are coming to the closing remarks and an outlook to our April lunch break. And I would like to hand over to Charlotte.
Thank you very much, Christian. So, yeah, thank you very much to our 2 speakers, Anjana Das and Bhargav Botra, for your very inspiring and valuable input today. It was great to hear about making the tea value chains in India, and that is one of the world's largest tea producing countries, more sustainable and inclusive by empowering women. Your insights have provided us with important perspectives, and we greatly appreciate how they have deepened our understanding of both the challenges, but first of all, also the opportunities in promoting gender responsive approaches along agricultural supply chains. So on behalf of the SASI team, I would like to extend my thanks to our speakers and participants for all your valuable contributions. I think it has been an insightful exchange on how to put gender responsive approaches into practice along agricultural supply chains. Today's discussion has once again highlighted the importance of close collaboration at the political, economic, and societal levels to drive meaningful change. We were happy to see that quite some companies and organizations participated today who haven't joined the SASI lunch break before. Please get in touch with SASI anytime for more info and sign up for our monthly newsletter to be informed about events, studies, and on our funding opportunities for more sustainability in your supply chains. Before we all leave this meeting, I would like to invite you to join us for our next SASI lunch break, which will take place on Friday, 4th of April. We will soon share the topic of this next lunch break via our communication channels. Let me wish you a splendid International Women's Day tomorrow, and let me wish you lots of success in making agricultural supply chains more inclusive, not only on Women's Day, but throughout the year as women transform agricultural supply chains and have an impact on global food systems. Thank you and see you soon.